Okay, so just a minute. Okay, so there is a technical issues happened. So I don't know where I stopped. So I checked the video like from the talking of Python, right? So that is where we had stopped. We just wait for another like 1 minute to get to come some students. Okay, so again, okay, so because we don't provide the attendance form also, so this is from the technical side. Okay, so just wait for a second to join. So if you are in, if you come to the right link, just give a comment like I'm in, like I'm there, like that. Just give a message in the input box like yes, I'm there, like that. Okay, so we can start our section. Okay, so where we are stopped from here only. We stopped the comparison between learning some other language and learning JavaScript. What is the difference between them, right? So are you in the, if you come for the right, just give and message like I'm in, right, like that. Okay, we can start our session. Okay, so without delaying some more time. Okay, just give a comment, I mean. Okay, okay, yeah, people are coming. Yeah, I mean, right. Hey, thank you Sanjay Kumar, and thank you Sanjay Kumar, thank you so much. Okay, so sorry from the technical side, it's happened something like, because it is a long live meet, it has never happened before. It is the first time we are facing, like I'm teaching 10 minutes, I've just come to say something in the comment, I coming to the YouTube comments and I'm seeing like the link is not there, and I'm just calling my founder like the link is not there, people are already out, like that. Okay, sorry for this, sorry for your inconvenience from my side. Okay, yeah. So okay, so where we left means like, so what is the purpose, why I say like how to, what are the essential things we need to learn. Yeah, what are essential things we need to learn as a JavaScript developer, right? So what we say, what we handle, right? We have handled like we need to learn the basic syntax of something, and you need to learn DOM and ES6 concept. This is something called as modern JavaScript. We come to the topic now, and why I say like it is my recommendation to learn programming language. If I say some top programming language, you can come like Python is going to be the most topest programming language, and then it comes for JavaScript, right? So if I have like if I learn Python, which one has the most vast, like that, right? So just think about the job openings. Okay, so if you learn Python, just think about like if I am learning Python in the development field. Okay, so don't think about like something like a data science, something like that. Okay, so no job openings or no huge available as a beginner, it is very into that. Okay, so if I say development side, so what are the job openings available here? You can apply for Python developer, you can apply for something, the frameworks available, Django and Flask. So you can apply for something like that developer, and you can go for backend developer. Okay, so these three options only available when you learning something like that. But when you learn JavaScript, about that, you can apply for front end, and even if you learn some programming language, there is a need to learn JavaScript also, right? Because you need to go on this thing to learn, and you can apply for front end, and here you can apply for back end and combine to full stack. And here you can see React.js developers, startup and mid-term companies ask for that. Angular developer, a big giant companies ask for Angular development, and Vue also has a huge supporting community, they ask for that. And there are so many things, right? So you can learn, you can go and learn that, like, so like that you can able to apply for these job openings. And also if I say full stack, there are several stacks is available, like mean stack is available, Marin stack is one of the popular stack is available, and we have some called as Muse tag is available. Like that, we have so much of job openings. Okay, so consider this one technology that is focused on multiple future things. If I learn this, it is going to be the future of the programming. Why not we supposed to learn it, right? So this is only thing you can do. And also right now you have this openings also if you are focusing on development, and the right place is JavaScript to learn Java. Okay, so this is all about why you should learn JavaScript and what is the necessity of learning JavaScript. Okay, so now we go for the coding part. Without wasting times, we go for the coding part. But why I'm taking this huge long introduction, like not say like the brief lecture, people don't understand JavaScript. What is the purpose of JavaScript? Okay, if they don't understand, they will never get into JavaScript. Okay, so they need to understand, like for example, if I use HTML, it is the structure. Okay, it is responsible for putting some image, put some tags, like that. If I use CSS, it is responsible for some coloring, some layout, like that. The same, like if I use JavaScript, it is make the page dynamicity, right? It makes the page dynamic, more interactive interface. I can make some functionality to doing from front end also. I can able to do that. Okay, your voice is breaking. Like, just a minute. Is my voice is breaking for all, or someone is texted me my voice is breaking? My voice is, it is audible for you all? Let I check. Voice is breaking for all? Yeah, actually from my side it is clear. Like, check your internet. Like it is being clear and it is okay. So check your internet connections and just come here. Okay, so sorry for that. Okay, so yeah, carry on. Like, okay, so this is all about learning JavaScript, right? So you need to understand the purpose. If you understand the purpose, and you need to focus on how to learn. Like I say, the doing JavaScript is simple. It is make dynamicity. And how to learn for front end, you just focus on the basic syntax, focus on DOM bomb and something like that. Okay, so then it is going to be very easy for all the people who are learning JavaScript. Let's come to JavaScript. So what is name called something like JavaScript? It has some Java. It is related to Java. The answer is no. Okay, so Java and JavaScript are two different part. Okay, no relations between Java and JavaScript. The company Netscape introduced JavaScript. Okay, so the company Netscape introduced JavaScript. In that time, Java has been one of the most popular programming language. So it has been considered as one of the marketing strategy. If I name the popular programming language as a prefix for some languages, it is also been popular and it is also work good. Even JavaScript is now more popular than Java. Okay, so from my point of view. Okay, so this is what happened. And they consider like why we are naming JavaScript is because they want to run Java alphabet in the browser. Instead of running something in a server, we need to run in the Java alphabet in the browser. That is why we introduced JavaScript. Okay, so that is why the reason the naming JavaScript will come. Okay, so and another thing is that if you can see, if I write HTML, if I write CSS, these codes are understandable by the browser. Okay, so if I write in HTML and if I write in CSS, these codes are understandable by the browser. If I run something in JavaScript or Python, any other programming languages, it is not understandable by the browser. Why? Because the browser understand only the machine codes like zeros and ones. Okay, it is not understand only the machine codes, but this is not something like it is not a machine code or something like that. Okay, so it is a full-fledged programming language, and we are speaking with that. Okay, so there is an process is happening, huge process is happening to understand JavaScript in all the browsers. So that is how the evolution of JavaScript came. For example, I can say, like for example, if I am speaking in English, but you are not you don't know English, then what you say like I'm not able to understand. So there is a problem with that. So also JavaScript is nothing but a file, right? So a code that has a language of JavaScript is nothing but a file, and a browser is not capable to understand the JavaScript. A browser website, a browser will not understand JavaScript. What is mean browser? A browser may be a Google, Mozilla Firefox, Brave, Opera Mini, so much of things, right? Safari is these all are considered as browsers, and their browser is not able to understand JavaScript. Okay, they can able to understand HTML and CSS, but directly they are not able to understand JavaScript. So what happened? And translator was introduced, that is called as JS engine. Okay, so the JS engine was introduced by every browser. Okay, for example, Google has its own JS, and Mozilla Firefox has its own JS engine. Brave has its own JS engine. Safari has its own JS engine. And what is the purpose of this JS engine? Is to translate the JavaScript code to bytecode, which means the machine understandable code. So whatever we are coding here, it will be understandable by the browser by using this JS engine. It is act as a translator. Okay, it is act as a translator. And consider, in the time of 95, no browser is more common. Like Mozilla Firefox is one of the most used browser compared to the Google. Okay, so every browser is making their competition, like making their own competition. So their competition is focused on making this JS engines, like because they need to introduce, if they introduce JavaScript engines, they can make their own website more dynamic and user like hassle-free interaction, right? So that is why all the browsers, all the big giant companies focus on building JS engines and make interacted with that JavaScript and making the user interface much more easier. So what they came, everyone has its own standard of coding, right? So everyone has its own standard of coding. So then what happened? There is a same file. For example, if I am writing a JavaScript code, I am run it in Google, it will do something. If I run it in Microfox, it will do some different thing. If I run it in Safari, it will do some other thing. So because each one is built different, right? So each browser is built different. So the dynamicity is causes some of the issues, right? So each one works different. So there comes a standard called EcmaScript. Okay. So what is mean by this? You hear most of the times EcmaScript. So EcmaScript is right. It's nothing but a rules and regulations. It is a standard for JavaScript. So if you go for college, and for that college you have some rules and regulation, like you need to wear a formal shoes, like that, right? So same ways the EcmaScript was introduced to make a standard rules and regulation for making this JavaScript. Okay, so based on this standard only, this browser will work on their engines, and they convert the JavaScript code to machine code. Okay, so a common standard will come. Every browser will accept that, because every browser are in the businesses, so they need to be part of that, so they accept that. And what happened, a standard was introduced. So based on this EcmaScript standard only, the JavaScript is keep updating. Okay, it is nothing but a rules and regulations, a guidelines for making JavaScript. Okay, everyone like and subscribe. Yeah. Okay, so this is all about the evolution of JavaScript. Okay, so that is how the EcmaScript has introduced. So in an interview, people may ask, what is the difference between EcmaScript and JavaScript? JavaScript is a language, EcmaScript for making all the browser to accept. Okay, so you are so make JavaScript based on this guidelines. Okay, without these guidelines, so if you are making a browser, you need to integrate your JavaScript engines with that, and you need to make this. Okay, so I say, like browsers, each browser has its own engine. Like for example, if Google has V8 engine and Mozilla Firefox has its monkey. If I go here, if I just call the something like JS engine, something like that, and you can see Wikipedia, you can hover or just click this, you can see V8 from Google 8. Okay, so this is an engine used by Google to translate JavaScript code to machine understandable code. And SpiderMonkey is used by Mozilla Firefox to convert the JavaScript code to this. And this is one of the first JavaScript engine. Okay, so and so many, like Chakra is by Internet Explorer, like that. Okay, so each one has this engine, and based on the standard only, everything will running common. Okay, so that is how, if you browser, okay, then what happens, even you test with the other browser, even a slight difference may happen, but most of the time it won't. Okay, so that is the power of introducing EcmaScript. Okay, so this EcmaScript has its own version. Like when it is introduced, we can say ES0, ES1, ES2, likewise everything is introduced. And in the year of 2015, a new standard and regulation was introduced, that is called as ES6. Okay, so even though till now we have ES6, 2022, EX something like that, ES12, ES11. This ES6 is considered as the modern JavaScript because it is the last version that is acceptable by all the browsers and development, and it will be mostly used. Okay, so this is more than enough. Okay, so you are learning ES6. What is ES6? It is nothing but EcmaScript 6th version. Okay, so 6th edition, that is what you are learning. In the 6th edition only, some of the concept has been introduced that will help for the frameworks like React and all. Like for example, destructuring, so much of things. Okay, don't confuse with that. Okay, so this is all about the history of JavaScript. Okay, so this is all about the history of JavaScript. Now you can understand like how it is work and all, right? So now we go for the next 2.5 hours. What we're going to do, we just go and look to the basic concept of like what is variable, what is data type, what is function, what is loops, what is much more which is needed, like ES6, a bit about ES6, and we can create an functionality about the backend. Why not? Means I'm saying like we can create a functionality of social media. Okay, we're going to create an app, but not a fully structured app, but we're going to create it. Let's see how we can create it. Okay, start from the basics. We just cover what is variable. Okay, so before that we want to do something. So instead of using Visual Studio Code, I'm going to use the online code editor. So it is called as JSBin. Okay, so this is nothing. If you are in Visual Studio Code editor, it is fine. Okay, something like to teaching, it will be efficient for me. That is why I'm using this. Okay, so but it is, I'm also going to use the Visual Studio Code editor when I'm going to work with the project. So there is no problem. I just explained how the JSBin works. JSBin is nothing but you can see all the options are available. Like if you want to write a HTML code, you just click this. You can see an HTML code will be available. And here you can see output is there, right? If I click the output, and here you can write your HTML code. For example, I say h1, something like h1, hello everyone. Here you can see it is automatically rendering, right? This is automatically rendering, right? So this is the reason. Sorry, I'm using JavaScript. I'm using JSBin. Okay, a bit of confusion. Okay, so I'm using JSBin. So if you want to style that, you can style it. For example, I just say back. Right, like this. So this is it simply work like the code editor. Okay, so for small learning concept, small concept, we can able to understand that. Yeah, hello, I have a question. Yes, I'm also need a tiny break. Just you can go with your question. What is the question? Right, so you just ask the question, I'll reply it. Okay, so this is like a JSBin, like it is like an online code editor, and where we can do some of the online work here. Okay, by using internet. Okay, instead of Visual Studio Code editor, we can able to go on. Okay, so right now we are not go and focus on HTML and CSS. Instead, I just go work with the next option is JavaScript. Okay, so JavaScript, I'm going to write some JavaScript code, and here you can see another option. Instead of I don't want output, I want console. So what is this console? Okay, so if you go for your browser, if you go for anything, okay, wherever you are in the Google, so I'm in diploma in chemical engineering, I'm interested in creating websites, so I am eligible to become a developer field. It depends upon you. Like it depends upon you. If you have interest towards that, just go and learn, and you can it depends upon yourself. If you learn the core skills and all, then you can. Okay, so that is my recommendations. Okay, even I'm not from an CS background. Okay, so if you have interest, if you want to learn the skills, and if you have enough time to learn that, for it. Okay, so that is my recommendations. Okay, and don't think like I'm after learning HTML and CSS is whether I'm capable to go for a job. That is not possible. you need to give your time and effort to yourselves, then it is possible. Okay, so nothing like if you just look at in the foreign some countries, like just see like some of the famous web developer we know, like they're creating they are teaching web development for millions of students. I know some of them, and they are graduated in medical science. Okay, so they are not graduated in coding, they are in medical science, they are in hotel management, they are in some other different degrees, but they learn coding and they shift their career and they will come. Okay, so can we use Visual Studio Code editor instead of, yeah, you can use it. So for teaching purpose only, I just use this online code editor. Okay, it is not a code, it's just like a debugger. Okay, so for teaching convenience, I'm just using this. And also I have to use the Visual Studio Code editor only. We're going to create a social media logical app, right? So that is what we're going to create, and we going to work with that too. Okay, so and the Prem Sama, your answer is and did my diploma in chemical, and you are did the diploma, right? So that is even not a problem. You can want, the thing is like you need to be consistent and you need to take care of your skills and you need to go for that. Okay, so because you can learn everything in the development, everything is available open source, a great teachers and available that, and you can go with that. Okay, so it is possible. Okay, so that is from my side. Okay, sure. Okay, yeah, so this is something like debugger. It is easy to work because Visual Studio Code and click online server, every time I need to do that. So this is something like if I do code, I see the answer directly. That is why I'm using. Okay, so console is like nothing but I already mentioned. So this browser is one of the biggest invention by the mankind. Okay, so what we can see means like every option, everything is available in console. So here you can see element. I think most of see this element and what is this element and what is this component styling in the before part, like our founder Navedi take, right? So he will say like how to change this, right? So this is nothing but our HTML code, the understandable document by the browser HTML code, and this is something called as the CSS part you are working with. Okay, so here you can see in between this, you can see a console is there, right? What for opening this, you need just right click and you need to click inspect. Maybe someone it will come here. Okay, so it will have an option like how to view. So for some people come like not like this, it will come like this. Okay, it will initially come like this. Click here and you can use like this below it. Okay, it will be more convenient. Okay, so after that you can see a console is there. If I click the console, you can see a place. Yeah, some place is there and blinking is there, right? So something is happening and blinking is there, right? So what place? So actually this place is built for debugging our code. Okay, so what is mean by debugging our code? For example, I am writing some logic. For example, I simply say 2 plus 5. Okay, so then an expression I am writing. So if I say 2 plus 5, what is the answer? What is the answer? The answer is 7. I need to display this answer in somewhere, right? So for that only this console is used. This is used for many other purposes. So right now we are going to use for debugging, like we are checking the code we returned is correct or not. Okay, so how to access this console? So for accessing this console, you need to do write a single line of code, nothing but console.log. This is nothing but a method. Okay, so we'll discuss what is this and everything. Okay, so here in JavaScript, everything is an object, and right now don't confuse that there is a method is there available in JavaScript by default called as console.log. If you log, you can have an access to this this page, this thing in your browser. Okay, so if I write here the logic 2 plus 7 and here I run this code, here you can see the answer will come 9, right? So this is the use of now you can understand what is the use of console, right? So console is nothing but it is used to understand debugging, whether I'm running some code, whether it's error, it need to show here you are in an error, right? So there we need a separate place to debug our code. For example, instead of plus, I write something like a weird thing like this. Okay, 2 blah blah and 7 like this. So this is a weird thing, right? So if I do run here, you can see an error. It is showing a red color background, right? So what is this? This mean an error. I'm not able to understand. Okay, so error is nothing but the speaking to us. So browser is saying you are writing something, but I am not able to read that. Can you check this? That is what it is. Like for example, if I go and inspect this, it will even show, go for the console, it will even show where it is the error. Like it will show that if you are in Visual Studio Code, it will show the line number, and it will here there is an I'm not able to understand, please check that particular line. Like that it will show. Okay, so this is if it is in red color, it is something like error. And you may ask, what is this orange, like light yellow color? This is something called as warning. So what is meaning is not at all a problem. This is something for the developer. So right now we are in JS bin, right? So they give warning for that JS bin, and they give warning for Chrome extension. The some installed, that is they give warning. Okay, so it doesn't affect our code. It doesn't responsible. Most of the time, wherever you go, you see some of the warnings. Okay, so we don't want that. Okay, so only thing is, if it is in red color, we need to run a write code. If it is normal color, like for example a black color background like this, it will be displayed and your code is perfect, you can move on further. Okay, so this is a place where you can debug. Yeah, we can use. Okay, sure. Hi everyone. Okay, so this is place. So for accessing this console, you need to use. Okay, so here it is an object and method. Don't confuse with that. Right now it is a beginning. It is go. Just consider you. The only thing you need to remember is this console.log. Anything you are whatever you are giving inside this two parenthesis, we call this bracket as parenthesis. Okay, inside this it will be shown here. Okay, even this console is for writing logics. For example, here if I simply say 2 plus 9, 2 plus 8, if I press enter, you can see it gives the answer. And if I say 2 is greater than 9, it give me false. If 3 is less than 9, it give me 3. 2 is less than 4, it give me true. So whatever the logic we are giving, it produce the answer. Okay, so that is why that is the need of console. Okay, so and you can see I am not able to write the code, and every time I'm not able to open the code and show to you, right? So that is why JS been also provided here also. Okay, so whatever I'm writing, consider this is the console. It is the same console. Okay, so it will be, if I say 2 into 1, if I say 2 into, you can see it will fetch the code and it will display the answer to us. Okay, so the console log is to display the answer here, which means to debug we will display it. Okay, so there we going to debug and we will do render output. Okay, so this is all about console log. So only thing you need to learn. And the next thing is, what is meant by commenting? So in HTML you see commenting, right? So commenting is not, it takes notes, like we just give a notes for the other developer to read and understand properly. Okay, that is why we add comments, right? So whatever the comments we are doing, that will not affect in the output, right? So for comments, for single line comments, you need to use this double dash. So this is for single line comment, single line. Okay, if what I entered in this line, it will display output. Okay, so it is like note taking. Okay, so where we can say I teach a topic called variable, I can simply say variable here. Okay, it is not displayed to the user, but it is displayed to the developers. Okay, and if you want to create a multiple line command, you need to give a single slash and give this multiplication sign, and you can give like this. And whatever you are entering inside this, you can use the multiple line, it will not bother, like it will not affect your any code. Okay, whatever, if you want to give a multiple line comment, you can go with that. Otherwise you can use a single comment, you can go with that. Okay, so this is some of the basics. Okay, so next thing, so whatever you are writing in JavaScript, it is good practice to end the JavaScript with this semicolon. Okay? It is even not more recommended. Like for example, even without the semicolon also, if I run this, see the code will be done. But it is a good way to end an expression or a statement with an semicolon. That is good. Okay, it is a good way, right? Fine. Okay, so the first topic what we going to see about variable. Okay, so wherever the language you learn, the only common thing is everything starts with variable, and it's all up to variable. Okay, so if I take JavaScript, if I take JavaScript, values is around two types: fixed value and another one is variable value. What is mean by this value and what is mean by variable value? What is mean by value? Value is nothing but you can giving something, right? So whatever we are giving the data, that is value. Okay, so that to do some logic, so for that we need data. For example, if I'm doing addition operator, I need two data, like I need to add thing with something, right? So that something is called as values. Okay, so what is mean by fixed value? A fixed value is nothing but giving a constant directly. For example, initiating like 12, something like this. Okay, so giving some value directly, like 13, something like 14.7, and giving a string like hello. If you're giving something like this is called as fixed values. Okay? So it is manually, I am giving manually, right? So but most of the times we don't give manual value until it is not a constant. Okay, if I want to do something with a constant value, like I want to multiply with some pi values, like that we can give. Most of the time we use the variable value. Okay, so I just explain why we need a variable value. For example, you go for a website called something like ABC. Okay, they ask you your email name and username, and they ask you for sign up. Okay, so after sign up you will move on to a home page, right? So in the home page they will give an welcome and they will provide your name, right? They will provide your name. So what is your name? The name, what, for example, you are entering Sabari, it's a username, it will say welcome Sabari. Okay, and this is user 1, his name is Sabari. He goes for the same website and he will give his name, and this name will be displayed as Sabari. And once again in another username with name Hari, he is go for the same website and he give his username and all, and he sign in, and he will show what? Hari, right? So what happened here, the name is dynamically changing according to the user giving values. Here it is called as values, and this value is fetched, it is displayed in the next page, used in the next page. And if another user comes, his value is fetched and it will be displayed another value. So the values are not fixed, right? It is not a fixed value, right? It is something changeable, right? So if I use a fixed value, like if I say Rohan, then what will happen? Even a person name with Hari go inside and sign up, it will display only Rohan. If a person with Sabari go and display, it will shows only Rohan, right? For example, let me create a logic. Why you are wasting time? Let me create a logic. Okay, so if a person come after entering his name and all, I need to fetch that. So on the fetching that, it is considered as DOM operation. Leave that. I fetch that, but I don't go that because I have only the fixed name Hari. Okay, so a person with name Sabari is coming, display Hari. If a person with name Ramesh is coming, it will display only Hari. If a person name with voice is breaking. Now it's visible for all. So is my voice is breaking for all? Again, I think this issue just like but I don't have any voice breaking issues. Guys, for other students, it is my voice is breaking. Hello. No. So it is good. Prashant Jadhav, can you check your something like your internet connection? Now it will be okay for you. Okay. So what I'm going to say, like something like, so if I give a fixed value, then it is not change dynamically. Okay. If I give a fixed value, it is not going to change dynamically. So for giving a dynamic value, then what you need to fetch something. You need to call a variable. So what is mean by a variable? Variable is nothing but a a container. So what is mean by a container? If I say container means what is mean by? So this is capable of storing data. It is capable of what? It is capable of storing data. So that is what it needs. For example, if I take any box, you can see this is a box, right? So this box, consider this box is a variable, and what we can do, we can store some data here, and whenever we need, we can able to get that. Okay, so what data we can store? The data we can store it is given from the user. For example, a user came and he is giving his name. I can store that data in a variable and I can access it later whenever I want. Okay, and if another user come and he will store the he give his own name, and he will give his name, and this is stored in now, and for him it will shows that data. Okay, so by using this we can use this dynamically. So variable is nothing but a container. It will store data. So consider in if you go for like in our home, our moms has some dog, right? So we have some containers, like they name it as like for putting dal, for putting rice, for something like that. What they do, they will put everything in that, and what they will do, they will name this is doll. Okay, and whenever need a doll, they will see the name and they will take the doll, right? So this is how okay, so this is how our moms will do, right? So moms in our home do, right? So they will for the container, and they will name the steel container, and they will give a label for the container, and they will name it as doll, they will rice, they will name it as a grains, something like that, and they will put all the things inside it, and they will close it, and whenever they need, they will open it and they will take it. So consider the variable is like that. Okay, consider a variable is like that, is something, and container, okay, where we can store value and we can take it for further use. For example, if a user is giving a value is his name. Okay, we can store this name in a variable. Okay, so here we write some set of codes. This set of code is called as DOM. So DOM is nothing but fetching, accessing, changing element in a browser. Okay, so that is what the DOM will do. Right now we go with the basic syntax. So what I'm going to do, consider for I create a variable and I going to assign, I just going to give a name as Hari. Okay, how can I give that? So what is the syntax? What is the syntax of creating a variable? Okay, screen is not visible, it is flickering. Okay, what happened to the screen? Just a minute. Now it is fine, right? Now it is fine, right? Sorry, now it is fine, right? Okay, so what is mean by this? What is this means? Okay, so what is mean by this means, like for example, we stopped. Yeah, so where we stopped, how to variable, right? So for creating variable, you need a syntax to create a variable. So syntax is nothing but consider this is a formula for doing something, like, okay, so it is a formula. For example, for creating a variable, you need a keyword. Okay, a keyword, what is the use of this keyword? The use of this keyword is to tell the JavaScript I'm going to create a variable. Okay, so we have some keywords and we need some keywords, and after that we need to name that variable. We need to give the name of the variable, and we need to give the value of the variable. You need to use this equal to sign, and this should be ended with this semicolon. Okay, it is optional, but it is recommended to, like, it is a good way to go. Okay, so these are the thing needed. So for syntax, we need keyword, we need to give name for the variable, and you need to give the equal to sign, and you need to give the value. That's it. Okay, these are other things needed. Okay, now come to the point. So what is the value? Consider a user there and he is give some value. That value is Hari. Okay, so I just going to give the value as Hari. Okay, so and I need to wrap it with double quotes. So why I'm wrapping with its double quotes means, because if you are giving some sequence of letter, then it should be come with the double quotes. Okay, right now just think, like, just remember that. Okay, so that is more than enough. And I need to give a name for this variable. Okay, let us see the example. We already discussed. Our mom is using a jar and he is giving a name label like doll, right? So consider this label is like what is this? It is used to identify the variable, that is called as identifier. Okay, so this is used to identify the variable, that is called as identifier. And whatever the thing putting inside it, this is called as value. Okay, the same like this is going to be an identifier. So here the user is giving his name, so I can name it something like name itself. Okay, or I can say first name, it is going to be the first name. And what is the keyword? So we have several options for declaring a keyword. We have three things in JavaScript: let, const, and var. Okay, you can use anything for declaring a variable. Okay, so for example, I'm using let. Consider using let. Okay, so now I created a variable. So what is the based on the syntax? For example, let is a keyword. I explain what is let and const and var briefly, just bear with me. Okay, so let is a keyword and I give an identifier to identify variable and I give an value. Okay, so if I want to fetch another data, so it is going to be for the another data, I want to fetch the age, then what I need to do? You need to call any keyword here, we will call. So it is good to go with let. Okay, so and I'm going to say age. Okay, and age is going to be the name of the identifier or variable, and I give equal to, and here it is going to be a number, it is not a letter. So we don't want this double quotes. Instead of double quotes, what we can say, we give the number like 28. Okay, it is the age. So right now what we did, we store this value, we store this this value in first name, and we store this 28 inside this age. Okay, okay, just a minute, I just give and explain with the syntax. Okay, so what is the syntax? The syntax is nothing but you need to give a keyword for declaring variable. Okay, for declaring variable you need to give a keyword for this, and you need to give what? You need to give a name for this, right? This is going to be an identifier to identify the variable, and here you're going to give the value. Okay, so consider we have several keywords. We have let is there, const is there, and we have something called as let, const, var is there. Okay, so there is some difference between let, const, and var. So we just go with the let. Okay, right, go with the let, I will explain later. Okay, so let. Okay, so this is going to be the keyword, and what the name we can give. So whatever the name you want to give, you can give. For example, I just going to give age, I'm giving something like that. And what is the value? I can give 28. Okay, so right now what I did, I store this 28 value into age. So if I call the age, the 28 will be displayed. Okay, same like this, if you declaring something like f name, and if I use double equal to, and for a name called Harry, now what happened? This is right now you can understand, like this is different variable, this is different variable. If I want age, I can call this age. If I want the first name of the person, I can call the first name of the person. So let us see practically how it is work. Okay, okay, instead of this is fixed value, instead of something giving, you just go and give something with the variable. Okay, so what I going to do, I just going to say let, it is going to be the keyword, and I just going to give the identifier, give a equal to sign, and here is going to be 28. And this right now I'm giving manually, but in the normal terms, where we get the value, we get the value from the user, the client, right? So we will give the value, and by using some code we will access it. So that fetching, accessing, everything is called as DOM manipulation. See that later. Okay, so right now you need to go with the manipulations. Okay, so 28. Okay, right now what happened? Now I store the 28 value inside this age, right? So I store the 28 value, right? So how can I call this? If I, for example, if I call console.log instead of calling 28, what we can do, we call this age. Call this age here means you can see. I call this age here and I just refresh it. Refresh this, you can see, just a minute, like you can see 28 will be happen. So what happened, likewise I said, this is going to be a container and it is going to hold a value 28, and when I call the container and it will give the value for us, right? So like if I say let first name, I just give f name and I just going to give something called as Hari. Okay, I just going to say let and I just say last name. Is there any issue in the live? Is there anyone facing any issue like voice breaking, screen display is there in live? Or everything is fine? Just give a comment like everything is fine with, just give a fine, something like that. Just give a comment. No, everything is fine. Not now. Okay, thank you so much. Okay. No, who the fuck is just a minute. Okay, everything is well. I just get a call from the technical team. Everything fine, right? Fine. Okay, so check your screen, sir, please. Okay, so this is something like I'm creating another variable called as n name. Consider this is a log, and I just going to say like Prasad, something like this. Okay, so what we can do, we can just console log it. You can just go for the console log, and I just, if you want to call the f name, you just call the f name. You just call the f name and you call this, and you can call you can again call the console log, and again you want to call the l name. I run this, here you can see 28. This 28 is already run. Okay, so 28, Hari and Prasad, everything will be displayed. Okay, so right now what we can able to do, we can able to do some operations. For example, if I want the full name of that, okay, what I can do, I just simply say log f name plus l name. So what is f name plus l name? So what is f name? So in the f name is a variable, it contains a value Hari, and in l name it contains a value Prasad. So I giving a plus, so two words get combined, which means concatenate. Then they're going to proceed something like Hari Prasad. You can see, like if I just refresh it here, you can see. Okay, so I just refresh it here, you can see it combined with Hari Prasad, it will be shown. Okay, instead of giving that, we can able to do that. Okay, so consider a user Hari is come and he gives his name, it will display Hari. Another person will give his name like Sabari, then what will happen, this name will be given here. Okay, so this name here see the dynamically it is changed, right? So this is purpose of using variable. Why should not declare data types? We should not declare data types. Sorry, I'm not understanding. We not declare data types means like you are asking like why we not declare this is a number. I'm not getting why should not declare data types. So I just going to explain the data type concept later. Okay, so we are coming to it. Okay, so right now you are you just understand, right? What is variable, right? Variable is like an our mom's door in the kitchen. Okay. Oh, you are asking like something like C++, Java. They do some of the, if we want an integer, we call that int, and if we call that like, that is why, right? So yeah, I can explain it. Okay, so if you go for some languages like C++, or we can say Java, we need to say that, right? We need to say that I'm going to declare an integer, I'm going to declare an I'm going to declare an string, I'm going to declare an character, like that we need to display, right? We need to say, right? But in JavaScript, you don't want to say that. Okay, so the syntax is entirely different. That is why I'm coming with the nook and corner. Okay, so the syntax is entirely different, and it is like an English. Okay, it is simple like an English. You can code. So something we can say as they are well structured, programmed. But here JavaScript is a loosely typed programming language where you don't need to declare that. Okay, but if you want to something like this integer and all, it will be helpful, right? I can understand high it will be helpful. That is, we have something called as TypeScript of JavaScript where we can use it. But in JavaScript, meanwhile, in the basic, like you are learning JavaScript, you don't want to tell that I'm going to declare an integer, I'm going to declare an float, like that. You don't want to tell that. Okay, because JavaScript itself, it is capable to understand, like this is a string, this is a number, this is an boolean, like that. It is capable to understand. You don't want to declare it. Okay, the syntax is even more simpler, and it has its own drawback, and it also has its own addition to like okay, so if you want that, you can just Google it for TypeScript. Okay, so you will get it. Okay, so it is a superset for JavaScript where we can use the structured, like an we want to do some hello world, we need to do some set of coding, right? So like that we can do that. But JavaScript is very simple. Okay, you don't want to declare that. Okay, so go for here, that I'm coming here. So if you already learned some other programming languages, this little bit confusion to understand. That is why people hate JavaScript, because it is entirely different from other, right? Okay, so that's no problem. Like this is the syntax. So here you don't want to say the data type of anything. Okay, so JavaScript itself, it's fair enough. It will understand whether it is a string, whether it is a number, or whether it is a boolean, like that. It will capable to understand. But I will explain it how it and all. Okay, so right now we go with let, const, and var. Okay, so for this we have three keywords. So now here what all are the doubts may arise. So the doubt is like which one I use. Okay, and the second doubt is why we have all this. Okay, because we are declaring a variable, it is fair enough to we have one keyword, it is fine, right? Why we have three things? Okay, whether it has some functionality like that? The answer is yes. Okay, I will explain it. Okay, so as a beginner level, you can understand var is a pretty old one. When JavaScript is introduced, this var has been introduced. Okay, so it has some main. Okay, so there is an issue. Consider there is an issue. I will explain it if times is that clearly about why we declare. Okay, so the one thing is right now, don't use var, avoid var. Okay, avoid var. Okay, so it is a pretty old one, and I already said ES6, right? ES6 in the modern JavaScript. So in the modern JavaScript, they introduced two keywords that is called as let and const. Okay, so this let and const, it is introduced for the replacement of this var. Okay, so the var has a major issue, so we removed it. Okay, so they removed it. Rectified is they use the let and const. Okay, just consider this. Okay, most of the time we use let, and then what is the difference between let and const? Both are new feature. Then why we use two separate things? Okay, let I explain. For example, if I go for something like it, if I get here, you can see I can able to re-value. For example, age equal to, here I just give a double quotes age, right? So instead of this, I 34. Okay, so if I just give 34 and I just give again 45, and what I'm going to do, I just going to comment this, and I just going to comment this. Okay, consider we have a variable and we assigned a value as 34, and again I call the same variable and I put in 45. Okay, I put 45. Then what happen if I run this? Instead of just give a minute, I just refresh the field, you will get instead of 34, it will use me 45. Why? Because I reassigned the value. Okay, so in let, by using let, you can capable to reassign the value. But if I use const, it is not possible. So the same thing, if I go for the same thing, let, if I use the const and I refresh the feed, you may change an error is happening. Okay, so here I just give a value 45. Okay, so if I use const, it will use 45. If I use let, it will use 45. Then what happen if I run this? Instead of 45, I put in 45. Then what happen if I run this? Instead of 45, it will use me 45. Why? Because I reassigned the value. Okay, so in let, by using let, you can capable to reassign the value. But if I use const, it is not possible. So the same thing, if I go for the same thing, let, if I use the const and I refresh the feed, you may change an error is happening. Okay, happened, type error, assignment to a const variable. Okay, so why it is happening means that if let and const is, let is reassignable. So consider like our mom, like our mom is there, he has a container, he has a doll in it in the container. So what he is doing, what she is doing, he will leave that doll and he will another thing like flour, like that, any other grains into that, and he will pack it and put it. Okay, so that is reassigning. Okay, consider that is reassigning. So by using let, you are capable to reassign a value. But if you use const, it is something like it is that variable is fixed for that. Okay, we are not able to reassign, we are not able to change that. Okay, so it is good to use const when you don't want to change a data. For example, if a user gives his information like his name, his age, some personal information, the same should be come to the browser, right? So you should not change that name. If you change that name by mistake, and then the user will get confused. I am giving my name as Harry, but it will display something like something like Raj, like that it is displaying. Okay, so the user, it is not. So for avoiding those error, what we can do, we can use the const. A const is nothing but a constant variable. It will not reassignable. Okay, if I do reassignable, it will be throw an error, and we will come to, okay, it is declared in const, so it must be an reassignable value. So we can clarify it once again. Declare let, it is something like we can change whenever we want. Okay, so for the variable let, it is reassignable, we can change that whenever we want. That is the reason. Okay, so this is the difference between let and const. And var, we have discussed about var. So var, just consider this is a old version and it has one main issue. Okay, so right now leave that issue, because we get into the topic of scope means it will be a few, we need to talk more. Okay, even we are talking more for variables too. Okay, so and it will be even more. Okay, so it is a old version, nowadays not in available. So you can use let and const. Okay, so if you want to reassignable value, you can use let, and const, if you don't want the variable to reassign, then use const. That is, so now keyword is completed. Now come to name. How to, here and another doubt will come, how to name that, whether I can give any name or I have to give a particular, there is some rules and regulations for that name. Yes, there are rules and regulations for this name. So by using this, naming the variable, it is called as identifier. Okay, naming a variable, it is called as identifier. By using this identifier only, we can identify the variable, because we have n number of variables and we need to identify a particular value by using this variable only. So for defining an identifier, you have rules. For example, sorry, for example, name should start with letter, it should not start with number. Okay, if you start something like 1 to age, it will not a valid syntax. It should be start with letter. Okay, and it may start with, may start with underscore or this $sign, it may, but it is good to go with the letter. And another thing, important thing is, it is a case sensitive one. What is meant by case sensitive? What is meant by case sensitive? Let I explain. If I go here, if I give capital H, if I give a small H, right? You can see it is in small letters, right? If I something give a capital letter, and I run for this, okay, I remove this letter to const, and I run this, you can see age is not defined. Why? Because this is capital one, this is small one. Okay, so whatever the case sensitive you are giving in the declaration of the variable, the same case sensitive should be used when you call or when we use that variable. Okay, so it is case sensitive. You are asking to, for this is different, this is different. Okay, so even if you change the case of the letter, it will be different. Okay, so it is also an interview question, like how JavaScript variables are case sensitive or not. Okay, so it is a case sensitive one. Okay, so these are the rules you need to follow, and just Google it, you will find some other tons of rules and all. Okay, so this is the most common rules, like it should start with letter, it should not start with number, it should start it might be start with $sign and underscore, it will be case sensitive. And what the case we mostly JavaScript use means camel case, we can say lower camel case. So what is mean by lower camel case? It is a type of writing code. Okay, so it will be good to go with camel lowercase when we work with JavaScript. It will be easy to understand. Okay, so we have several cases. So what is mean by camel lowercase? For example, this is camel lowercase. Okay, first letter, the first starting letter would be small, and the upcoming the upcoming next letter is caps. Okay, so it is depends upon you. Even if you give a single letter, something like X, it is valid. Something like or, it is valid. But give a variable that is related to the value, then it will be easy for you. Okay, so these all are the rules for identifiers. Okay, to doing identifiers. Let's go again. So then, okay, so we see about what is keyword, where to use, and we see about how to name a value and equal to. So this, what is this equal to do? It is assigning a value. It is an operator. What is doing? It assigning this value to this variable. This sign is used to assigning value. Okay, so in after that we see double equal to, triple equal to, and all. So they are different. They are different. This is different, and equal to is defined as assigning a value. And here we have some values, right? So here comes and real part. So values. So what all are the here? Another doubt is what all are the values I can store. So we can store the value. What is the other name of value? It is called as data, right? The other name of value, other name of information, the other abbreviations we say is data. And this data is has several types. Okay, so they are called as data types. Okay, so they are called as data types. So based on this value, it will be stored. For example, we have string. What is mean by string? It is nothing but like sequence of character, like naming words, letters, and something like everything. Double quotes and single quotes are considered as strings in JavaScript. Okay, everything under double quotes and single quotes are considered as strings in JavaScript. So the reason, like some people ask, like whether we don't want to declare here you need to declare char, or if it is for integer we need to declare integer, whether we need to declare float, double. You don't want to do that. JavaScript is smart enough to understand it. So the only thing is you need to give a right syntax. Like if you declare it in double quotes, it is considered as a string. In a single quotes, it is considered as a string. So there are several data types are available, like string is there, number is there, and we have boolean, and we have null, and we have undefined, and finally we have object. Okay, there are two types. These five are called as primitive data types. And also we have something called a symbol. This is not needed. It is a newly introduced one. We are not use much more in that. Okay, leave that. Okay, so these all are called data, primitive data types, and this is all called as reference data types. So we see about that. Here we have object. Okay, we see later what is object, and these are some of the advanced concept we see later. Okay, so here there another doubt has come for the previous programmer. Integer, float, double, no. In JavaScript, no that divisions, like it is double means float means it is in a decimal number, integer means it is in the integer value. No, everything here considered as number. Even it is 9.5, it is also considered, comes under the category of number. Even it is an 25 whole number, it is also a number. Even it is in something fractional, it is also a number. Okay, so here the data type assigning is different compared to the other programming language. Okay, so got it right? So shall we go for data types and see about some of the data types, how it is working and all? Just give a comment. Let's we can move that. We can move for the next topic. So if you have any doubts regarding the previous one, you can ask. Okay, I just need an half 30 minutes break. That's it. Okay, that's why I'm pausing. Okay, if you have any doubt, you can ask and we can move for the next. Shall we move? Okay. Yeah, okay. So we can move for that. And the attendance form will be the third attendance form, right? It is the final attendance form that will be provided at maybe at the end of the session by the team. Okay, so we will get that, sure. Okay, so till now we have covered the basics, right? So what are things and what all are the naming things that we need to cure, right? Okay, yes sir, right. Thank you Dinesh. Okay, so we move on to the next thing. Okay, so right now we have discussed about what is variables, and this values is that is called as data, and we have several data types, and we're going to see that data and data types. We're going to mostly focus on the primitive data types, and then we move on to the reference data type. What is the difference between primitive reference and all? Okay, so because this is going to be, we are not able to cover the JavaScript here. Okay, I am accept that. We're going to cover the basics levels and all. Okay, so go for the primitive data type. Okay, so just remove, give a refresh. Let's see, nothing here. Okay, so first go with the first thing. Save this. It is going to be string. It is going to be a string. So what I say, so it is called as something like sequence of character. Sequence of character, like we can say letters, words, naming, something like everything is called a sequence of character, and that should be comes under double quotes, single quotes, and also another option is there, backticks. Leave that, we will see later. Okay, so double quotes and single quotes, everything considered as a string. Okay, so before getting into that, we have let me create a string first of all. Okay, so I just going to say let x is equal to, so I'm creating a variable, and here I'm just going to give a value in string. So what I can give, like the naming words Hari, or I just going to give something, what we can say like name, something like on, we can say like something like paragraph, anything like this. Okay, if I give this, you can see this paragraph is stored in this x. Okay, now if I call the console.log x and I run this, you know that it's a paragraph, right? It will come. So how can I check whether the variable is a string or number, anything like that, right? So I need to check whether the variable is string or anything like that. How can I do that? So for doing that, you can use a method called type of. Okay, so the type of method will display the type variable. For example, I just say console.log. So why I'm using the console.log? Because this is used to display the answer in the console. Okay, so here I just going to say type of inside this. So this is also an inbuilt method in JavaScript. Okay, so by using this type of method, inside you can declare a variable. So what this type of will do means, it will instead of giving the value, it will say the which data type it belongs. Okay, so based on this value, for example, it is right now it is in a string. If I use type of operator and run this, here you can see it will produce, it is a string, right? Okay, so what we can do, we can use type of operator to display the data type of a variable. So that is why it is showing string. Okay, so here comes another weird thing. Like for example, if I declare a number like 29, this is a number, but note here it is in double quotes, right? So note here it is in double quotes. Then yeah, so note here it is in double quotes, but if I run this code here, you can, this is still showing string. Why it is showing string? 29 is a number only, right? Then why it is showing string? Just give an answer, like why it is showing string. Because I already mentioned, like everything that comes under double quotes and single quotes, it is considered as an string. Even if you give number, it is considered as string. If you give any other data types, that is also considered as string. Okay, so remember that in JavaScript, everything that comes under double quotes and single quotes, this is considered as a string only. Even it's a number or even anything, that is considered as string. Then how can I declare a variable with number? So far you don't use this double quotes or single quotes. If you do, then just a minute. Okay, so if you do that, then what happens? Then it will be display the answer string. number. If I just press it, you can see it will display number. Okay, so the type of operator will be number. So here the only thing you need to notice, there are several other I think so many of the previous some other basic programming languages learned peoples are here, but they will think some weird things here in JavaScript. Okay, so that is why it is called as most created language. It will be some different here. Okay, so you are learning something with zero knowledge, then it will be useful for you. Okay, so here it is not in double quotes and single quotes, then it is considered as a number. Okay, so when it is considered as a number means number. Okay, so here I already said if you put dot in, if it is in a fold, which means it is in a decimal value, then also it is considered as number only. If you put something in the, if you put something in a minus, something like this, it is also a number. If you put integer, everything here, it's going to be a number only. Okay, so no other change. Only thing, it should not come with the double quotes or single quotes. If it is come with like that, then it is considered as a string. Okay, so this is the first two data type. So the next one is Boolean. So what is meant by Boolean? Boolean data type is nothing but it is something work with true and false. For example, I say true here. True here. We run this. Here you can see it gives, it is a true and it is a Boolean value, right? You can see. So it is a Boolean data type. So true, false, true, false. It is Boolean value, and this data type is going to be useful when we work with some of the condition statements and functions and all. We can use this. Okay, so this is then third data type, and another data type we have is null. So what is mean by null? Null is nothing but the space is occupied, the variable is declared, but nothing inside it. I'm telling it is empty. Okay, so this data type is called as null, but here you can see it is an object. There is a difference between it is in primitive data, but it is called as an object. Then huge speaking here. Okay, so right now just consider this as a bug. Okay, so right now consider this as a bug, like maybe in future they can rectify it. Okay, so null, it comes under the concept of primitive data types, and it is a primitive data type. It is not an object like that. But frankly speaking, every data type, even it is a string, even it is number, even it is an Boolean, everything in JavaScript is an object only. We that is pretty complicated JavaScript we speaking. Right now consider these are all primitive data types. Okay, so null is nothing but you need to declare a value null. Means it is an empty one, no one is there, like that. Okay, and we have undefined. So what is meant by undefined? A variable is declared, but there is no values assigned to it. Okay, that is called as undefined. Okay, so we have some confusion here. We will discuss it with the board. Okay, so then we can able to clear that. Okay, delete it. Okay, so data types, right? Data. Okay, what I'm going to do here, we have primitive data types and reference data type. Leave that reference data type, come for primitive data type. So 5 things is there, and one is string. So how can we remember the string? It is called a sequence of character. Everything that with double quotes and single quotes is called a string. Okay, and we have number, and here it may be an integer, it may be an float, anything, negative, positive, anything, everything is considered as a number, but it should not come with the double quotes and single quotes. What is Boolean? Boolean is nothing but true, false, truthy value, falsy value, that is called as Boolean. It will be used. Okay, and what is null? What is undefined? A huge talk is there when we speak about null and undefined. Null is nothing but I declared a variable and I assigned a value. Okay, I declare a variable and I send a value, and that value is empty. Okay, so this is the difference. I declare a variable and I assign a value that is null, and the value is empty. But undefined is something like a variable is declared, but even it is not assigned a value, even though it is also empty, but it is not assigned. Okay, so that is the meaning. Okay, so here we see an example for null and undefined. In a school, in a class, a teacher is calling name of the student Hari. Okay, he is calling the name Hari. Okay, a student with the name Hari is available, but he is absent, but he is absent. So that is what null. So that variable is fully declared, it has a value, but the value is empty. Okay, so this is what null. What is undefined? Undefined is a teacher is calling a name of the student Hari, but he is not, but no student in the class have the name Hari. Okay, so it is undefined. Okay, so here the student is available, but for that it is absent. Okay, but here even the value, that person is also not available, right? So this is the difference between null, where is attendance, right? The attendance link, it will be provided at the already 2 attendance link is provided in the comment. Like if I think you hope you fill, the 3rd attendance form will be provided at the end of the section. Okay, so you will be get maybe end of the section or in between the technical, you will get definitely. Okay, I will not know where and when. Okay, get it in the chat box. Okay, so this is the difference between null and undefined. Okay, so this is the difference between null, and these all are the primitive data types where you can work with. Okay, so this is all about data types. Fine. So next topic is all about, we're going to discuss about function. What is meant by a function? A function is used to do some action when we needed it. Okay, consider like this. Okay, so it is also like a variable. We can store a block of code. Okay, we can store a block of code, and this code will not execute automatically. We need to call that function. For example, I can create a function and I can do a block of code. Block of code means I can do a number of code. Okay, and this code will not execute. Until unless I call the code. If someone calls your name, you will turn back and you will do them. Same like this, if you want to run a particular function, you need to call this function, and this function is responsible for running a block of code. Okay, let me see why it is useful and why we need a function. For example, consider a logic. I need to add 2 plus 4. What I do, I create a variable, let a is equal to 2, and I can say let b is equal to 4, and I just say a plus b is equal to 6, right? Okay, so this is a logic, right? If I want to add another logic like 5, 6. Now what I want to do, I want to again I want to declare like let a is equal to 5, let b is equal to 6, and I want to say let a plus b is equal to 5 plus 6, and c is equal to a plus b, like that. Then the values are calculated and it will be assigned to c. And if again some value, so the same process is this is working, right? This is repeating same thing, is same code, right? We are doing a same logic for n number of things, right? So we can avoid that. We can create a function, and whenever we want this, we can dynamically change it. For example, the syntax of creating a function is, you need to give a keyword. And you need to give the name of the function, and you need to give a parenthesis and a curly bracket. Okay, so till now, so inside this you need to give the code to execute. Okay, let's in the JS bin. Let's go and see the JS bin. Okay, so giving attendance, second technical error. Yeah, this is like second attendance form, like in the last live we ended, right? So if you missed that second attendance form, you already filled that, you just, okay, so for your purpose. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I just going to create a function based on the syntax. So what all of the syntax we talk, we need to declare a keyword. So for declaring a keyword, the keyword function is function. So if you call function, this is like I'm going to declare a function. Okay, sorry for that. Okay, so a function is nothing but it's a keyword. Okay, so it is a keyword, and you need to give a name for the function, like name. Here we can say name of function. function, name of function. Okay, and you need to give a parenthesis and you need to give an curly braces, and here we can say code to execute. Okay, so this is something called as code to execute. Okay, so code to execute means here we going to write a block of code. Okay, so this is a syntax. Right now we replace with this syntax. Okay, can be replaced. I can give a name for this, so I'm going to say add or with sum. Okay, and here I just going to give some code. If someone called this function, then you need to say console.log hello everyone. Okay, so this is the function I had been written. Okay, so let's see how it is working. Okay, if I run this, nothing will happen. Just see, nothing will happen. So nothing is displayed in console. So I already mentioned that when you creating a function, you need to call that function. So you call that function, then only this code will be executed. So whatever you are entering, you are declared inside this code, this will be executed. Okay, so unless if you don't call that function, the function will not execute. So for calling that function, you need to call by the name of the function. So what is the name of this function? Sum. Okay, and for calling the function, you need to give the parenthesis. If you give the parenthesis and this, right now the function is called, whatever the code you are declared in this function, it will be displayed in the console, right? So this is how this console.log, this function will be work. Okay, so let me explain how it will be work. Okay, why this Visual Studio is coming here? Leave this. Okay, let me go here, delete it. So you are creating a function. This is creating the keyword is used to create a function is function, and another maybe it filled with earlier in previous team. Okay, okay, so function keyword you need to use, and then you need to give the name of the function. So here I just give sum is the name, and the parenthesis I will explain why it is needed. And here I just say inside the code I just say console.log, and I just say hello everyone, right? So this is the function I have declared, right? So this function is I declared. So what would happen means this function is stored like a variable. Okay, so it is also stored like a variable. What happened? A function is created in your memory, a small bit of memory is stored, and in the name of the function sum. Okay, it is created and it will store the entire function. Okay, and it will wait for someone to call. Okay, so if you call the name of the function like variable, how you call the variable, if you call the name of the function sum with the parenthesis, if you give the parenthesis, then it is considered as calling the function. If you don't give the parenthesis, then what would happen means it will just send the formula of that. Okay, if you give the parenthesis, then what happened means it is something do the work. Okay, so what happened, then the code will inside, whatever the code inside it will be executed and it will be sent output. Okay, it will be sent output to the display. So this is how everything will be worked. Okay, let me see here. You can see instead of sum I don't use the process, and if I call this function, okay, so if I simply call this function, then what would happen, it will just simply return the formula. Okay, if you call with the parenthesis, then what would happen, the function has to execute. So I'm saying like evoking the function has to be execute, and it will send the code, what a code inside it will send to it. Okay, you can see the answer will be displayed. Okay, so right now what is the logic? Let's go and work with the logic. So okay, delete it. So what is the logic? So if I give two value like 5, 10, then what would happen, this value is want to go for a function, and it will do some block of code. What is the block of code? It will add that, and it want to return the answer in the console. How can I do that? It will add that and it will stored in a variable called C, and it will be display the variable C in the console. How can I do that? Okay, let's see how can I do that. Okay, so when we speak about the syntax, you can see function is that, right? We can see function is that, and in the function we have sum is the name, and we something called as, here we leave a parenthesis, right? A bracket is named, right? So here it is called as parameter. You can declare something like a variable, some naming here. Okay, so this is also like parameter. So what this do, this will get the value from the outside. It will get value from the outside dynamically. Okay, so then what we can do, so where it get the value means, then we call the function, we calling a function sum, right? So with a bracket, and here you can give the value like 5 and 10. If I give the value, then what would happen, this first value is assigned to A and this second value is assigned to B. Then what would happen, inside the function, if I call A, then the value is going to be 5. If I call B, then value is going to be 5. So if I say A plus B, then what would happen if 5 plus 10? Okay, it is a way of sending and value to inside a function. Okay, so this is called as parameter, this is called as argument. Argument are values sended from when we call the function, and parameters are a that it will get and value from the outside when it is called. Okay, so likewise we can dynamically change, but we don't want to repeat the code. Once we create a function, we don't want to repeat the code again and again. Okay, let's see how it is work and how can we create an addition for our app. Okay, so let's see. Nothing. Wait for. Yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, I just going to give a comma b. Okay, so you can give n number of parameters, whatever you want. If you want 3, if you give 3 parameters, you can give. Okay, so like that. And if I give a parameter right now, if I run something, you can see a comma b, and if I run like if I say a, if I say, wait a minute, a comma b, now you can see error is thrown, that is undefined. Why it is throwing? Because it is throwing because here a is right now, it is declared, but it doesn't have any value. So what is mean by value? The value you should give here. So what we can give? We can give 3, 7. So this 3 is going to add in the A, and this 7 is going to add in the B. And now we have access for this parameter inside the function. And when we call A and when we call B, then what will do? It will return, instead of undefined, it will return the value 3, 7. So now what we can do, we can write a code here. Okay, what we can say, we can declare a variable, let C is equal to A plus B. Okay, if I want the result, then what I can do, I can say like, I can say something like return, leave that. Instead of this, I just say console.log C. Okay. Okay, so this is, if I call something like control.c, you can see the value added and the value is thrown. Okay, right now we call the console log inside the function only. Okay, at what we can do, we need to return it. Most of the time what we do, we can return the answer. Okay, we can say return C. Then what would happen, this, if I call the function, who is calling the function, this, it is also a keyword. What this will do, it will send the, it is an indication of the function is going to end. Okay, it is an indication of that the function is going to end, and we can say by using the return keyword, it will return the value to whom it called. For example, here I declare a variable, let add equal to add to number equal to sum 3, 7. I just did that. Then what would happen, this is calling this function, and the function runs the set of code, and when it reaches the return, and whatever the value we given after the return, it will return the code to who it called. And here this is called, and right now it is a variable, it is has the value. So here you can say something like console.log add number, and if I run this, you can get the same answer. Okay, so this is another way of writing this. Okay, So this is another way of doing this. Okay, so this is actually a function. If you want to give another number, what you can do, you can simply change the number, like 10 and 12,000, something like this. If I run this, you can see the answer will be changed. So if you go for any calculator available in your web page, like web browser, you're doing how it is happening, the two values fetched and sent as an argument to a function, and that argument is go for and what? Go for the parameter of a function, and this do some of the addition operator, and they will show you. Okay, so this is how your online calculator you are using in browser, something like that. So the functions here. Okay, so the function how they, it is simple here. Okay, so this is, we are here we given a fixed value, right? Instead of you want to use a variable, then you can create like something like let a is equal to the user give 12. Okay, and let b equal to, here the user give something like this. Okay, so what you can do, you can give the value like a comma b, like this. Okay, if you give that, and this variable value is fetched and it will store, and whatever the value we are giving here, it is changed based upon the user. Okay, so by using DOM we can able to change that. You can see it will be work. And what happen if I don't give one parameter and if I run this, it will throw nan. What happen means, nan means is nothing but not a number. So because it is going to be an, it is what it is going to be, it is going to be an assigned value, and it is going to be an undefined, and what happened, undefined plus an assigned value, it is going to be a not a number. Okay, so that is why it happened. Okay, right, simple. So this is all about functions. Okay, so this is something like you don't want to repeat anything, like you need to, this is addition. So for that you can create a separate operation for subtraction, multiplication, anything whatever you want, you can able to give. So this is all about this. So then we can going to see about the next topic is all about condition statements. Condition statements, a statement which has two things, like delete. Okay, so we can say we have condition statement. So what is by condition statement? So it is like a coin. If it is hit, something has to happen. If it is tail, something has to happen. So we will do like that, right? The same like this, I am have a statement, and the statement, if it is true, then something would happen. If it is false, then something would happen, and that will be displayed in the output. So this is, I have a statement. When I call that statement, it has two possibilities, whether it is true or it is false. So based on this possibilities, okay, so just a minute. Sorry guys, I just take a little break. Okay, sorry. Okay, so okay, so based on this, for example, if the statement given here, it is true, it should give a different output. If it is false, it should give a different output. Okay, so that is called as condition statements. How can I do that? For writing a condition statement, we go with the basics. That is, we have so much of things for condition statement is available. Okay, so we go for the base, if else and else if ladder. Okay, so the basic. Okay, what I going to do, for example, I just going to declare a variable, let age equal to 23. Okay, what is mean by age is equal to 23? I'm just declare and assigning a variable, and I'm giving a value as to 23. Okay, I just going to say if. Okay, so syntax of writing the conditional statement is, if it is true, this code will be executed. Okay, for example, I can say console.log, this is true. Okay, So and I can say else console.log this is false. Okay, so let I explain how this, just remember how this work. Okay, so we go for the if and else. It is a condition statement. It is responsible for checking the code. Okay, here if, and what is the syntax? This is condition. So in the bracket you need to give the condition to check. If the condition is true, then the code you entered here, it will be work. If the condition is false, then whatever the set of code you entered in the block else statement, it will be run. Okay, the same like this. I'm giving a condition, I'm checking the condition. If it is true, this statement will be run. If it is false, this statement will be run. Okay, so that is how it works. Okay, right now you can see, if I just simply directly giving condition, I directly giving a boolean value true. Okay, so then what would happen? This code will be executed and this code will be ignored. If I run this, you can see this is will be run. You can see this is true will be run. So the error is based on the previous one. You can see this is true will be executed. And if I make this condition, if they make this condition to false, then what would happen? If I run this code, you can see this is false will be run. A same code, but same set of code, but we can give two options. Okay, for example, if a user is already registered in our website, then we need to ask them, come to our website, welcome. Okay, if the user is not registered to our website, what we need to do? We need to say like go for sign up page, right? So that is what we do, right? So that is what you already get. If you are not registered in Amazon, they will say go for the sign up page, register yourself. Like the username is not, user is already there, then what will be there? They will ask welcome, they will go, they will allow you, like the same logic. Okay, the same like thing. So I just going to say, if I have the age of 18, I'm going to write a condition. If the age is greater than 17, okay, if age is greater than 17, then you need to type the console.log your age is greater than 17, like that. Otherwise, or a minor, something like that. Okay, this is age is greater than, okay, something like this. Okay, so now what happened? This is check the condition. So age is greater than 17, it is true or not? What is age? Age is a variable. The value for the variable is 18. 18 is greater than 17, true. Then this code will be executed. You can see age is greater than 17 will be executed. So if the age, if I change the age to someone person with the age of 6 and using this, and what happened? It will be display minor. Okay, so based on condition checking, it will display the answer to the the user. Okay, so this is how this condition statement work. So what if you have multiple checking? Okay, what if I have multiple checking? Okay, so how can I do that? You can use else if. Okay, you can check multiple condition. For example, if a age is less than 17 and you need to say your age is, instead of here we can say minor. Okay, like that. Your age is less than 25 and I can say console.log you are a teen, something like teenager. Okay, so don't, okay, something like this. Not else if, sorry. Okay, so else if statement. Okay, so or otherwise if you are greater, you can say adult. Okay, so I write a logic. So what I say means, it first it check for the age is less than 17. It is check whether it is true. Then what happened? This code will be executed and all other fallback will be eliminated. And else it is a false one. For example, the age is greater than 17, like 18, 19, like that. So then what would happen? This become false and this code will be ignored, and it go for the else if statement. Okay, and it check whether it's suitable for this condition. So if it is less than 25, then what would happen? This will be typed. If it is not greater than 17 and less than 25, this is also false, this is also false. Then what would happen? The default else statement will run. So you are not in the eligible condition. So I just going to run the console.log. Okay, if I run this, you can see this is showing minor. Why? Because age is equal to 6 is less than 17. So all other code will be eliminated, only the console.log minor will be executed. Okay, so then what I'm going to do, I just going to write it for 18. Okay, so now what happened? 18 is less than 17, false. So this statement will be eliminated, ignored, and it will come here. 18 is less than 25, yes. So this code is going to be run. It is going to display teenager. If I run this, you can see teenager. And if I say something like 40, then what happened? You can see age is less than 20. This is also false, and this is also false. Then default it is go for the else statement. And if I run this code, you can see it will be adult. Okay, so this is how the conditional checkings, like it is called as conditional statement. Based on the conditions, it will check that, and it will send the output dynamically. Okay, so that is how it's work. Okay, so this is about conditional statements. And another thing we have is loops. Okay, so what about, like, if you have any doubts in that, you just may ask. After completing the loops, it is fair enough, we go and work with how the social media logics is work, and we can cover the even we can build a social media app. So just give a comment how it is useful if we create a social media app right now within 20 minutes. It's okay for you? Give your feedback whether we can create a social media app, pretty decent logic, whether everyone can understand. Okay, so like a social media app, so we can create. So what is your opinion? Shall we create a social media app? Whether if you are ready for that, just give a comment like I'm ready. Yeah. Okay, so after seeing the loop, we just go for the project, and we will create some instead. So we need to know about objects and all. So we just create it. Okay, so what I'm going to do, we just want a loop. Okay, so for loop, there are several loops are available, and condition also, several conditions also available. So what I'm going to do, I just going to cover one of the traditional loop, that is called as for loop. I just going to cover. For example, before getting into the loop concept, we just see about some other data types, like what is array and what is object. Okay, so what is mean by array? So an array is nothing but, so if I say declare a variable like let s is equal to 10, so what is mean by this? So I am storing a value 10 inside the variable. Yes, if I call that value, it will be render, right? So but I am not able to store multiple things like this. Like this, it is not possible. You can see it is showing some error. So how can I store a list of values in a single variable? So for doing that, we have array. Okay, for example, I create a variable, and for creating an array, you need to give the square bracket, and inside the square bracket, you can able to give multiple values. For example, 23 comma 23 comma 24 25 26, like that. Okay, you can store more number of values. If I say console.log num, like this, and clear, run, you can see all the values accessible. So how can I access an individual value, each one in an individual value? So for that, you need to access based on their indexes. Access based on their indexes. So what is meant by based on their indexes? So in JavaScript, the indexes starts from 0. Okay, so it is in 0th index, it is the first, and it is in second, it is in third, it is in fourth. So which means indexes is nothing but it is an place where it is like, for example, indexes, we can say we have we have a place to store, right? So this is, we have a place to store, something like this. Okay, a place to store. And this is called as syntax, a place to store. Okay, so the first value is stored here. 23 is stored in this index, and it is 0th index. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5. So this is something called as syntax. This is the place where these values are stored. Okay, so in array, the indexes starts from 0. So how can I access that? For accessing it, you need to call that array, and you need to put the square bracket, and inside the square bracket, you need to call which indexes you need to access. For example, if I say 3, then it accesses the value in the 3rd index. So it is in 0th index, it is in 1st index, it is in 2nd index, it is in 3rd index. So if I run this, you can see 25 will be accessed. Based on the indexes, you can be able to access this. Okay, so inside this array, you can able to give whatever the data type you want. For example, you need to give a string, you need to give a null, you want to give something like undefined, you can give, and if you want to give something more and more, any data type, whatever data type you want to give, you can give. The only thing is, for accessing the data type, you need to use the syntax. Like accessing data type, you need to call the data type, and you need to give the square bracket, and inside this you need to give the what. Third unknown is not there. So third unknown will be provided later at the end of the workshop. Okay, it is not still provided. Okay, so like this, you can access an array. Okay, so this is, so what happened? So the next thing is about object. Okay, so an object is also an reference data type. It is also capable of store a list of things. It is also capable of store a list of things. So what is the syntax of creating, what is the difference between array and object is, here we can able to access an object by using their indexes. In object, we can use by using some naming index we can access. For example, for creating an object, like we can say let car, okay, equal to, and you need to give the, instead of in an array we use square bracket, here you need to give the curly braces, and you can give and both value and key pairs. So like for example, model, and you need to give a semicolon, and I say 2022. So now if I call the model, this 2022 will be accessible. For example, model is there, and what I'm going to do, going to say like brand is there, and if I call brand as Audi, something like this. Okay, so then what happened? How can I access this? I go for console.log, and I just going to say car. Okay, you need to call the object, and you need to use this. So here we give square bracket, but for object we give dot. Okay, we can use square bracket also, but most familiar is dot. Okay, go with the dot right now. Okay, you use the dot, and you need to give this thing. So this is key, this is value. Okay, like variable. So model, in model the 2022 is stored, brand, the Audi is stored. Okay, what right now what we need brand. So if I call brand, then I run this code, you can see Audi is defined. So leave this undefined. Okay, so you can see Audi is defined. So Audi is how we fetch it. So it is an object, and by using the key value pass, by using the named indexes, we are fetching. So the indexes. Okay, so this is the difference between array and the object. So then another thing is nested object. For example, in some case, not more cases, an array is inside an object. For example, I already said, for example, let a equal to, I created an array, and inside an array, I create an object. Inside an array, I can create an object like name equal to name of the person. Okay. And I just give age equal to 23. Something like this. And I just give a comma here. And here I just copy. Okay, so what I did, so this is nothing but it is called as nested array, or if you do the same thing in object, it is called as nested object. So what is mean by this? Inside an array, I created an object. So this is 0th index, this is 1st index. So can I take that? If I go for inspect, nothing is there. First of all, I need to go for the console, and I just log it. Okay, console.log, and I just going to say, and I just going to say something like a. If I do this, if I run this, you can notice something like different in here. If I click the inspect, go for the real console, here you can see an array is created. I open that, you can see in the 0th index an object is there, and an object with the name of Hariprasad is there, and age 23 is there. And in the first indexes, a name is created, and Prasad is there, and his age name is 23 is available, right? This is all about arrays. Okay, so this is how nested arrays work. So how can I access this? Right now I want to access this Vikram Prasad. How can I access this? So how can I access this? You need to use both things. For example, first you can check what is the first thing. It is an array. Okay, so what you need to do, for accessing an array, you need to give the what? You need to give the square bracket, and this is the 0th index, and this is the first index, right? So right now, which one I need? I need this one. So first I need to go for this layer. So for that, if I give one, then what happened? I will access to this object. So right now, I am going to access an object. So for that, I just want to use dot. Okay, so for dot is used to access an object, and square bracket is used to access an what? Array. So after putting dot, you need to call the name of the property. So here it is the name. After calling this, if I run this, you can see Vikram Prasad will be accessed. So this is how you need to access the what? This is how you need to access the nested arrays or nested object. Okay, so this is all about array and object. Okay, this is more than enough. Okay, so we covered the data type. Okay, this is more than enough. Okay, so the next what we're going to see, it is all about loops. Okay, so the loop concept, I just going to tell you about only one loop, that is called as for loop, and we're going to see about for each. What is for each? Okay, for convenient. Okay, loop is nothing but I think most of you watched the Tenant movie, something like that, right? So a repeated n number of times, like we need to run a repeated code for n number of times, we can use loop. For example, I want to run console.log for 10 times. Okay, so console.log name, I just say console.log hello. So how can I do that? So you can do that by using loop. For example, I just say for, and what is the syntax of the loop is, you need to give a initiation here, and you need to give a semicolon. After that, you need to give a condition, and after that, you need to give an increment. I will explain it how it works. Decrement, and you need to give the code to execute. Okay, so what is the code I want to execute? The code I want to execute is this, right? So I just copy this, I just paste it here. Okay, so here this is all about. So what I'm going to do, I just going to say initiation means where I want to start. So I just say let I just declare a variable, let I is equal to 0. Okay, so I declare a variable and I say name I is equal to 0. So now what I'm going to do, I just going to say I is less than 10. We can say 11. Okay, less than or equal to 10. Okay, so what happens means, it will first we will give an initiation, and if the condition is true, then what would happen? This code will be executed. So right now I say I is less than equal to 10. So what is I? I is 0. So 0 is less than equal to 10. The answer is true, right? So then the code will be executed, and after that, after executing the code, here it comes here it comes here, and here I just going to say I plus plus, whether I can increment or decrement something, right? Okay, so here I say I plus plus. What is the value of I? So the value of I is 0. So if I say I plus plus, then it becomes 1. Okay, so it add up by 1. So that is the I. What is mean by I plus plus means it is add up the value by 1. Okay, so now first we initiate it and we check the condition is true or false. Then the code will execute and it will go and increment the value by 1. So this process will keep on repeating until this condition will become false. For example, right now it is 0. In the starting it is 0. It check with the condition, so it print the code hello world, and it go for now. So the 0 is transferred to 1. So right now what is the value? Is 1. So 1 is less than 10. Yes, true. Go again. When it reaches 10, it check with the code. 10 is less than 10, it is false, but it is equal to 10, right? So then also the code will be executed, and after that you can see it will go here. We can say instead of this we can go right something like this. So what happened, the code when the values keeps on incrementing itself, when it reaches the condition is going to false. So when it reaches the value 10, when it reaches the value 10, this loop will be break out and it will be won't run. If I run this code, refresh here, if I run this code, here you can see the hello, it will be run several times, right? So this is the use of loop, and you may think like, is the real thing that we need to using the loop? The answer is no. So why we are using the loop is to loop some of the array, some of the object. Okay, right now we going to loop through the array. Why we are using this means, because in an array it's like a list of items, right? It is like a list of items. So I need to go and access everywhere, take some time. So instead of that, I use some loop and I just use that to access a value in an array. It will be an easy process. Let's see. For example, I create an array, let number num equal to, and I say 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, something like this. Okay, so I just created an array. So if I want to access this, what I need to do, I need to say console.log num is equal to 0, so I will get 1. And I say console.log num square bracket num is equal to 1, so num square bracket 1, then I will get 2. Like that, I want to keep repeating it again. So instead of doing that, what we can do, we can put it in the loop, like something like num, and for accessing it we use the square bracket, and inside this we put I. So now what happened, so num, so if the condition is true, it comes for num. So what is num? Num is an array. So what is the value of I? I is 0. So 0 is nothing but 1. So the 1 is entered in the console. Then it is go for again. The I values becomes 1. Then it comes here. Now it is comes to here. So it fetch for the indexes in 1. Likewise, it keeps on going, and it will run it. Okay. So here there is another problem. So here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 item and 5 indexes, right? But here I give 10. Okay, so let's see what happened. If I run this, if I fully run this, you can see after fetched every value in an array, after that you can see undefined. Why? Because it only has 6 value, but I run the loop for 10 times, right? So it only have 6 value, I run the loop for 10 times, means every time it fetches one value. So after 4 times it will fetch no values, which means a variable is assigned but it doesn't have anything. So that is why it replaces undefined. So how can we overcome this error? So instead of giving something like this, what we can say, we can call the array num dot, a property is there, leng length. So what does this do? So this, if I say num dot length, means it fetch the length of the array, and based on the length it will be run the loop. You can run the, right now it is going to run the loop for only 6 times. Okay, if I introduce another something like what, another data like value, like this, I refresh here, you can see it will run for 7 times. So it is dynamic range. So this is the use of loops. Like if you have n number of, you have thousands and billions of data, you need to access all the employee name. What you can do by using this loops, you can able to do that. Okay, so this is fair enough, and by this knowledge we going to create an application. So let's do, right? So we can do that. Okay, so for the next 15 minutes we can do that. Okay, so let's see how can we do that. So I just create a new folder. Let's name this as media. Okay, so he opened it and I just go for, I think everyone familiar with Visual Studio Code and all. Okay, so 15 minutes we going to create an entire social media functionality by using this. Even some backend also coming here. Okay, so you can understand like how the entire full stack application work. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I just going to create an HTML file, index.html. I'm just going to create a style.css file, and I just going to create for JavaScript. For JavaScript, and file called main, whatever name you need to give, you can give, but the extension should be .js. So this is responsible for main.js. So I just go for the index.html, I just boilerplate. Okay, so here I just name this as TWD social media. Okay, something like this, and we need to link the style sheet, right? So for linking the style sheet, I just going to call link, and here what I'm going to do, I just going to link the style sheet /style.css. okay, so taking this, I just go for the open with live server. I just go into screen, little bit going fast. If you have any doubts, you can ask in the comment. Okay, so then I will explain it. Okay, so I stop it and I will explain. The time is running out. Okay, so I just going to inside the body, I just like something like TWD social media. So it will be displaying here. Okay, check whether the style, external style, we have added the CSS in the top, right? So it is available or not. So I just going to say, just fetch the body, and I just going to add and a background color, and I just going to give something called as okay, so it's, let me give some, okay, it is will be working. So we will create some fat, something like this. Okay, so and what I'm going to do, so nothing special. I just simply say like h1, and here what I'm going to do, I just going to say like text align, it's going to be center. Okay, so what I'm going to do, this is going to be considered, this is going to be a social media, not so good. I am comfortable, it is not so good, but it's more than we're going to create it. Okay, so only the thing is you need to focus on the JavaScript. Okay, so I'm not focus on the CSS. Okay, so that's why I'm just doing this. Okay, box sizing, border box. So these are all the topics covered in the CSS class itself, right? So just go a little bit fast. Okay, so I just go and say like something like this. That's fine. Yeah. Okay, so it is fine. Okay, so right now what I do, I just going to display our social media post. Okay, so before that you need to understand how to, so we linked in JavaScript, we linked in CSS file, so we need to link a JavaScript file, right? So how can I link a JavaScript file? It is a good way to link the JavaScript in the bottom of the file instead of linking in the head. If you are linking the head, you will face some loading issues. Okay, so some code loading issues, something is that, and it is good to go with the bottom of the page. That is fine. Okay, so we're just going to link that. So for linking this, you need to call script, and you need to put src, script tag src attribute, and you need to put dot slash, and here it is we have main.js. You need to link that file. Okay, so that's it. So we have linked it. For example, how can I check this? If I go for the console, inspect console, you can see nothing. So here I just say our famous dialog code is console.log hello world, like this. If I save this, here you can see hello world is displayed, which means our JavaScript file is successfully linked to the, or JavaScript file is successfully linked with the document. Okay, so we're going to create a social media page. So what all are the things we're going to have? We're going to have a database. Okay, so what is meant by this database? So this some in the starting we just we just speak, right? Database is something like an storage, like they get the information and they store it, right? It's going to be the post. So a person is posting some data. So in this post data, we're going to have an image, and we're going to have an title of the post, and we're going to have a description of the post. Okay, so this is we have a database, and we're going to have an image in that, and we're going to display the image is going to be the face, like we can say like the face of the person. Okay, so this is going to be image, and title is there and description is there. So right now in the database 2 posts is available, so we're going to create a 2 data. Okay, after that we need user, we need to check the authentications, right? So we need a user. So right now 1 user is available. What all are the things we need? We need a username and password. Okay, so what is the logic I'm going to write? If the username and password correct, then it should be show the post here. Okay, it should be show the post here. Okay, so that is what we need. Okay, so that is the logic we need to create. So first create a database. So I just going to say const. So I just create a database. A database is nothing but, so how we create an array, right? So if you are working with the databases, it is something like API, it is store everything in like in this format only. So I create an array. So in this array, I just create an object. So inside the object, what are the things we need? We need an image, right? So we need an image tag is needed. So here it's going to be the image, and we need the title of the image. Okay, we need a title of the image. Let me say the title is going to be my first post. Okay, my first post, and here instead here we need a name, right? So we need a name of the person who is posting it, and here I just going to name, the name is going to be Vikram. So Vikram is going to, and I just leave this, and I just going to leave this, and I just, what I'm going to do? Okay, it is an object. Okay, we create it in object. Okay, so I will explain it what I'm doing, and you can understand, right? Okay, so and I just going to say description. So the description is going to be like I like flowers, something like this. Okay, I like this flowers. Okay, so something like this, and I need to paste it here. Okay, so the same data, the same data format is for another person. Okay, so here instead of Vikram, it is Rahul who is posting. This is my, instead of post like welcome to code. Okay, so something like this, and he posting some image and like I like code. Okay, so consider this array, this is a database. Okay, so if you give, okay, so if you give some information, your username, password, everything is go to the database, and we will access this database by using some format like this only. Okay, so this is how, this is the format. Consider a person with the name of Vikram, and he is posting something with the title my post, and he is going to give an image. We're going to get an image in the online source, we will get it. He is giving a description like I like the post. Okay, like commenting something like just simple, like you're posting in the social media. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so and there is another database is going to, that database is going to be the user database, like user, like customer database. So it is going to save, it is going to save your username and password. Okay, this is another database that is have your username and password. So I just say the username is going to be right now I just going to say Hari, and the password is going to be 123. Okay, so what logic we going to write? If a user came with the same password Hari and the 123, then the code will be, then this will be displayed, and if the user give wrong password and wrong username, then what, it will show some alert. Okay, so that is what happened. Okay, so this is what we going to create. So that, so right now we have something, right? We know right now we have something, and we need to pass something. Let me see. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to create a function, and I just going to say is valid. Okay, user is valid, that is why I say created value, and I just say a comma b instead of this user password. If the user and password is valid, so I'm going to get the username, and I just going to get the password, and I'm going to check if it is true, then I go allow the person to see the home page. If it is not true, then I don't going to allow the user. Okay, so for that what we need if else class, right? So if it is true, I need to allow to the page, and I need to display the post to the person. If it is false, then then something is there. For example, I just want to say alert, the default function in JavaScript, and I want to say like alert user name invalid. Okay, username invalid. Okay, so this is want to be displayed. Okay, let's check. For example, if I say if it is true, so here we need to write a condition, right? So what the condition we need, the username I am giving in the argument, it should be same here, right? So that is what we need to write. So what I going to do, I just going to call the function is valid. If the username is valid, and here I just going to give the argument Hari, and I just going to say 1 2 3 4. Okay, I give. Now this argument is go for this user, and this password is go for this password. And right now what I'm going to do, I'm going to check with this user with the database. This is called authentication. Like I'm checking with that. How can I do that? For example, user. So what is mean by user? The user is the value having Hari. User is equal to. So this is something called as comparison operator. Whether this is equal to this is, it is like that. Okay. So right now I want to check with this. So it is in an array. How can we access this? We can access this simply like instead of customer, I just going to name this as cus. Okay, so it would be smaller. Okay, to fit. So what I going to do, I just going to say cus. Okay, cus, and it is an array. So I give a square bracket. Okay, so right now we have only one user, which means it has only 0 index. So I just give the 0 index. Right now I am in an object. I want to check with which one, this username. So I need to call this username dot username. Okay, so right now I check that. So if it is true, what would happen? console.log send the user. Okay, so I just go and click the inspect, and if I console.log, it will be show the user. So because it is in C to show the variable, like the parameter, right? I need to display it. So right now, if I come here, you can see the value Hari is come. So it is right now I checked the username, but I need to check the password too. So both username and password is true. Then what would happen? This would be come. So how can I do that? So for that, you need to use both things should be true. So you use this ampersand sign. So this is something like a gate. It is working with something. This is also 1 to true, and after the code here also 1 to true. So this is user for checking the username. The same thing I just going to use this for password. So instead of user, I just going to say pass. Okay, so whatever the argument I'm getting here, it should be equal with this password. Okay, so now what happened? Just imagine. So the username and password I'm giving inside a function, that is get, and it is checked with the if else class. If the username is equal to this username, if the password is equal to this password, console.log, in console.log you need to display the user and password. Okay, if it is not, if it is something I give, and instead of giving Hari and 1 2 3 4, I give something else, it need to show an alert. Okay, right now I'm giving right value only, so I'm going to check with that. And if I save this, here you can see the username and password is displayed in the console. So instead of giving something like this, I give 1 3 4. So the password is 1 2 4, but I give 1 3 4. Then what happened? You can see username invalid. You can see an alert, right? So this is created by this alert method. Okay, so this is the logic we have created. So this is how it is happened when you are working with the social media. When you are signing to the page, if you are signing with the right name and password, it will go inside the browser will go inside the home page, and you can see the news field. But if you are not, if you're giving some wrong username and password, then it will show invalid username and password, right? So this is how it will show. Okay, right. So if I give the right name and password, then what would happen? Instead of showing it in a console, what would happen? It need to show inside this one. Okay, so it need to show inside the post field, right? So right now we have database, and this database need to show here. How can I do that? So how can I do that means, for that you need to understand some DOM concept. Okay, so for doing something here, we need to access an element in index. Okay, so for that I just going to create a div, and inside the div I just going to say we don't want to create a div and all. Okay, let's leave that. Okay, what I'm going to do, inside here, I just create a div, and here I just giving an id is equal to post. Okay, something like this. Okay, so and I just going to leave it empty. So if I refresh this, nothing will happen. So what I going to do, I just going to fetch the information from the database, and I going to display inside the div. Okay, for fetching inside the div, you need to access to this element. So for that, for accessing element, we have several DOM properties and all. So the only DOM properties we going to see here, like something like let, I just going to access here. Okay, so if I say let post equal to, we have, this is called as document object model, document dot get element by id. So why I'm this, I want this element because inside the element only I going to add something. So I want this element, I am fetching that element. So how can I fetch that element? We can fetch the element by using their id, by use like that, so on so on. So right now I'm going to fetch only by using id. Okay, just have an understanding, don't think like I'm not able to understand that, just think like the process working. Okay, so I'm not want to force you to learn all this thing. Okay, so like if I want to fetch the id, what is the id of the tag? The id of the tag is post, right? The id of the tag is post. So I copy the post and I just going to paste it here. So if I say console.log post, okay, if I go here and I just inspect, right, you can see that element is fetched, div id post, the element is fetched, right? So the need, okay, so this is the document object model do, it can able to fetch the element, it can able to change the element, it can able to do. Okay, so after fetching the element, then what we need, so then what we need means inside this HTML tag. So then only we can able to see here. So how can I do that? So before that, we need an image tag, right? So image tag. So we don't want image. We remove this image. Okay. We remove this image. Okay, it is good to have an image. So that is why I put. Okay. So I just put the image. Okay. So I just go for a website called Unsplash. And here, and I just what I'm going to do, I just say face. Profile pic. Something like this. Okay, so what we can do, I just open with the copy image, and I just what I'm going to do, I just going to paste it here. Okay, so that's it. This is one person, and who's the next person? This one. Okay, I just copy the link, I just copy the image address. I just copy the image address, right? Copy the image address, and I just going to paste it here. So this is in database. Consider this is in database. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, I just going to add this information in the browser. So for example, if I say right now we have access to this post, right? So I say post plus equal to. So this is something assigning to it. Okay. So we can use backtick. So backtick will give access to, that is called as template return. We can add something, we can add the HTML elements into it. Okay, for example, if I say h1, if I create something called as h1, okay, like slash h1, and here I say hello, you can see if I save this, I go for inspect. For the body, and inside the post div.id, right? Okay, so what we can do, just go here and we can create a template like h1, and here it's going to be an hello. Okay, it will be displayed. Okay, we don't want to use the h1 because we give some styling, and I just going to say like h2. Okay, so this is something like it will be displayed like this, And if I want to add this into it, how can I do this? You just here and post plus equal to, and I copy this, paste it here. If I save this, yeah, okay. So okay, so we can say something like, okay, let's just a minute, let post equal to let post is equal to document dot get element by id, and here I just want to call the post. Okay, so the next thing what I want to do, I just want to loop through it and I need to fetch everything. Okay, so that is what I just going to do. So we have don't enough time, so instead of using for loop, I just going to use the for each loop. So this is also the same thing, it is going to do, and it is going to display it. Okay, so for that what I going to do, I just going to say something like okay. Yeah, just a minute. That is, yeah, here it is. Here in the style. Open with code. Okay. So what I'm going to do, just a minute. This is a project where we have done so much of things like okay, I'm deleting this one. Okay. Just a minute. Yeah. Come to the social. Right. The fuck. What I did. Just a minute. Okay. One with code. We have enough time, so don't worry. Okay. Stay. Okay. Okay, like this. Okay. So what I did. So this is what we did, and what I'm going to do. First, we need to fetch this ID, right? So fetching this ID, you need to call by using the ID. You can able to fetch that. Okay. So okay, so this is not we need. Okay, so we need to call that. So how can I call that? By using say like let post is equal to, I can say like something like document dot get element get document dot get element by id, and you can use the post to fetch that. So if you console log it, what would happen? This element, that element, what element, this div element we fetching, that will be available. Okay, so now what I going to do, I just going to access the post, and I say post dot inner html. So what is this inner html? This inner html, whatever we giving inside this, it will be accessible. For example, if I say something like if I say plus, and if I say something like and tag like h1, and I just say like hello. Okay, so this is something like h3 hello, like this. And if I save this, okay, it is not in the server. Let me open this, open with the server. I just close the window. Okay, so you can see the hello one is there. So what happened? So we can able to inside it. For example, if I say something like instead of hello, if I say like something like and I save this, you can see it will be happen. So what I going to do? I just going to add everything here. Okay, so I just going to add everything here. So this is like splash profile. Okay, and plus profile. So I just need this one, copy this image, and I just paste it here. So I'm preparing the database, not the image. I'm preparing the database image address. Okay, I just paste it here, and I need this person, and I just copy the image address, and I can paste it here. Okay, so these all are the things. So now what I going to do? I just going to add everything. So I just going to add everything. So how can we do that? I just going to create a sample. Like for example, I need an h2. So here it is going to display the title, and I need an image tag, and inside this src only we're going to put the profile picture of an image. And what we need an another thing, like why go for the database, what are the thing we need, and name, image, and title, right? So before title we want to before title is should be come before this. Okay, below this, and I just going to say after image I need the I need an and paragraph, and h2, again h2. This is going to be the name of the person, this is going to be the name of the person, and after the image, after the h2, and this is going to be we can say h4. Okay, less sensitive. Okay, after that we need the description. So this is going to be paragraph, and this is going to be the description. So what I'm going to do, I just cut this. Okay, so I just going to cut this, and I go for the main.js, and I just going to put everything inside it. Okay, like this, and I just going to put inside this. So right now you have some of the error. This is because of the using the double quotes. So you need to use the backticks. Okay, so you need to use the backticks to get rid of this error. Okay, so like this you can do this. If I run this, you can see name, title, description, and everything is there. So here you need to use the template literal to access this database. So okay, so right now what we need this image. So we need this image means you need to access the database by using array, and you need to go. Okay, what I going to do, I just going to say I just going to say okay, so here I just going to say database in the 0 dot image. Okay, if I do this and I save this, you can see our images will be there. Okay, so we will style it, like for example where is the css? Okay, if I go here and image here, and I just going to say like with 100 pixel. You can see our image is there. So then what we need, the name of the person. So what is the name of the person? The name of the person is Vikram. Okay, so the Vikram should be here. So how can we fetch that? You can fetch the same thing like the template literal. So the same template literal. So what we can say database, we can put like this. Okay, so this is inside of image, we can call name. If I put, you can see Vikram is changed, right? So instead of title, the same thing, you need to copy and you need to paste it here, and you need to copy, you need to paste it here. Okay, instead of name, we can say title. Okay, we need a title, and what other thing we need a title, we need description, something like this. You can save this. You can see we can fetch from the database. Okay, so but we fetch only one data, but we need to fetch that we have two data, right? So we have n number of data. How can I fetch that? So how can I fetch that? You can go with the loop. So here I just going to say what is the database? Database is an array. So database dot for each, there is an loop is called for each. Even you can go for the for loop also. Okay, so I just going to say item. Okay, so I just say going to say like something called as item, Okay, and if it is there, and you need to post it here, cut this, and I just going to paste it here. Okay, so instead of saying something like this, what I going to do, I just going to say item.image, item.name, item.title, item.description. You can see all our social media page, all the databases has been fetched. Even if someone comes here and he is doing some post, okay, if doing some post, what we can do, we just like this, the same format he is also doing. What we can do, we can just copy, we can like consider there is another post is available like this. Okay, if I do simply like this, you can see our post will be displayed. Okay, so you can give a decent styling. This is how everything happens. So you can give a decent styling, like for example, by fetching the id post. Okay, okay, we can say display flex. Okay, and flex direction is going to be column like this, and align items is going to be center like this. Okay, so likewise you can fetch, likewise you can do this. Okay, so you can wrap it inside a div. You can have an clear okay, so right now we end up the section with a little bit hurry burry because of the time convenience. Okay, so but the same thing, the same action is happening. I will explain it within 1 minute. It is more than enough. Okay, okay, so this is how, and we can give an id here called pp, something like this. Okay, like this, and what we can do, we can style this pp dollar pp, and we can give hash. Yeah, so like I can give something what border 2 pixel solid black. Okay, so we can give a default height and width. Height is going to be 300 pixel. Okay, so width is going to be and 30%. Okay, we can make everything like justify content center. It is already made. Display flex and whatever thing, we can give margin bottom 20 pixel, and we can give padding, we can give padding for 20 pixel. Okay, like this, and we can like we can change the font color, so much of things and everything, whatever you want you can add it. Okay, so this is like, this is a simple and decent social media post, we can say, but whatever the styling you want to add, you can add it. Okay, so box shadow like 0 0 0 0 10 pixel, it's be blue, it's great, right? Okay, so what I did, we just created a simple social media post. This is how it works. For example, consider if in the backend we have a database. Okay, so database is where all we giving some informations, right? So that information is go and store, and we have access to the database by using some APIs, and this APIs or look like something like array and object look like manner, and this is how you can access it. So, and I say this is something called as authentication. So if you are go with the correct name and password, you will go for the home page. If you are not go for the page, then you will go for the user end of page, right? So user end of page. So then what happened, that is why I create a function. So in that function I need 2 arguments, and these 2 arguments comes from where, comes from the user, right? So in the sign up page you are giving, right? So the value and the password, it is go and check with this function, and here we check with the function like if the user is equal to the user name in our database, and the password is equal to the password in our database, then what would happen? Then allow the code to run. So if it is not there, for example, if I am doing if I give some wrong password, then what happen? It will give me user invalid. It will not show me the answer. If I give the right password and right username, then it will redirect me to the where it will redirect me to the post page where I am in. So inside the post page, it will what it will do. So we have a separate database for that. So all the post, all the things has been listed out here. So by using HTML, what we do, we created an element and we can display all our post inside it. Okay, so likewise, if someone putting in another post, what would happen? This will be go and store it in the database, and if you are searching for that particular data, it will be displayed. Okay, it will be displayed. If I put again, you can see it will loop through it, and now you can see 4 posts it is available. So this is how we are scrolling and watching it again, but everything will be displayed here. Okay, so this is how everything will be work. Okay, so this is a very bad social media user interface, but the thing is, you need to understand like how we can add the element and how we can put the element. So the thing is, like, if you we don't teach about any DOM operation, like how we add the element, how we dynamically fetch that data, something like this to this, how we can fetch that. So we don't either teach that. The only idea of this bootcamp is you need to know that by using JavaScript we can able to by using JavaScript you can able to understand. Okay, so that is the main reason of doing this. Okay, so like by using JavaScript, what you can able to do, you can create an element, and if you want to remove this element, you can able to remove that element. For example, if someone clicks this button, I want to remove this particular element, yes, probably I can able to do that, and I can append, like how I do this, like you can able to append that element, and something like you want to change the background color, you can change that. Like I'm going to code it in JavaScript and I want to change the background color of it, I can able to do that. How can I do that? For example, I just say let body, the only example, last example, document dot get element by ID. Instead of ID, I just go for get document dot body. Okay, so this is a method, like I am accessing the entire body, and whatever I am going to give inside this, it will be happen. Like if I say body dot style dot css style dot background equal to something called as hello. You can see the entire post is changed to yellow. So this is how you working with the toggle, like if you click that button, something has to happen. So this is very even more ugly, I'm sorry for that. Okay, so this is like this is the reason. Okay, so this is how we can change it. Okay, so this is how it is possible, like toggling, milding, you can change it, everything that is happened. Okay, so the thing is that you need to understand basics and you need to understand the can we use hide or unhide the text by using JavaScript? Yes, of course it is possible. You can do that. Okay, for example, right now you need to hide this. Right now you need to hide the post. Right now you need to hide this one. How can I do that? So how can I do that? You need to access the element, and you can simply set here display is equal to what you can say. You can simply say display is equal to none. If you set that, it will be hidden. Okay, so the simple example, I give an id and I say simply like h. Okay, if I say fetch instead of this document, I say document dot get element by id, and here I just simply say h. So if now I say save this, you can see here. Now what I going to do, I just going to hide this. DWD social media. How can I do that? style.display, it's going to be none. Okay, so after saving this, you can see it is gone from the website. You can see the top, nothing is there, right? So this is how you can hide the element. So how can you show the element? Simple. If you create a button, add an event listener, click this button, it need to hide. After that, it need to show and it need to display. That's it. I think, hope you get all. The third attendance form is available, right? Third attendance form link is not there. Like, I just request the teammate to send the third attendance form. You can fill it. Okay, so after filling this form only you get the certificate. And any doubts you have, 5 minutes is there. It is a long boot camp. Okay, so you can ask me now. Okay, so just a minute, I just ask you to send the third attendance form. Whether the attendance form is sent for all, third attendance form, or if you have any doubt, you can ask. 5 minutes, it's going to be end. Yeah, okay, so the third attendance form is already sent. That's it. Okay, so only 4 minutes left to end the session. If you have any doubt, you can ask and we can see that. Okay, yes, okay, thank you Dinesh Reddy. And just give your valuable feedback about the boot camps and all. So like, we're going to conduct this boot camp for every month, and we just focus only for the very beginner level. So that is why we go with each and every line like that. It is advanced means it is bit different. Okay, and you can join our WhatsApp group if you want to further update from our team. You can also join that. And when I receive the certificate, the certificate will be received within. Sir, can we stop people to get JS file through inspect? So inspecting, like, how can I say, like, when you are do some hosting, like when you are do some, like, it is not changeable. Like by using you will learn that when you are working with the security vulnerabilities and all, you will learn that. But when you inspect that, you will get only HTML and CSS. Okay, so the JavaScript file will be in the network, like application source folder. Okay, so they cannot change that. Okay, so the thing is, they cannot change that. Only how the hackers, like, they how can attack the website means by using, we misroute some of the, by using this URL, right? So they inject some script file. Okay, so PHP or JS, what's your recommended? JS. Undoubtedly JS. Okay, so I'm not saying like PHP is not a bad language, but why I'm using JS, the reason is, compared to PHP, JS is always been better. Okay, so only thing difference is we cannot able to do the CPU intensive task in the backend. Okay, but that's not a matter. Okay, so we can go with JS. Do you provide course? Actually, we provide online, like offline boot camps, but the registration is end. So we already done that. We provide an online boot camp. Maybe wait for a few days, you will get that. Okay, like, I like your course. I like your course. Time, which course? I'm not provide any course. Okay, so you will get it, like soon you will get it. Like, our founder is going to be launching so much of course, maybe in Udemy or some other platforms. It will be announced in this YouTube channel. You will get it. Okay, so keep subscribers and just connect with us in the WhatsApp. You will get it. Okay, fine, no doubt, right? And if you want to connect with me in LinkedIn, just go and search for my picture. It is available, and you can. Right now, one online batch is already going. So we ended up the registration. You will get it very soon. The next online batch, next opening for online batch, you will get it very soon. Okay, where we will teach you lively with the Zoom meeting call. We will teach you lively, and we will be with you in the entire process. Okay, guys, it's time's up. Thank you for attending the meeting. Give us subscribe and give a decent feedback in the group or LinkedIn. I will be Yeah, it's in October. Got it. Okay. So just give your feedback in the social media platform. Tag me. I will be there, and we will be catch. We will be catch. Okay. Bye, guys.